Hi, everybody. Chuck Freeman from Locked On Brewers Anchor Desk. Some bonus weekend coverage. We got to get to who was tendered, who is not, and who is signed. We'll do that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I call this Brandon Woodruff Day all the time. I do, because this is the day a year ago where the Brewers made the move of non-tendering Brandon Woodruff. It was a disappointing day for a lot of Brewer fans. We love this guy, and we thought that was it for Brandon Woodruff. Well, he'd later re-signed with the Milwaukee Brewers. So just because a beloved player or a player we like or a player we think is key has not been tendered, well, it doesn't necessarily mean he's gone. Most of the time he does, but we'll figure that out. Chuck Freeman here, Locked On Brewers special edition bonus coverage here on Locked On Brewers. We had to get to this here, just like we did last year at this time, talking about what happened on Friday night, the tender moves, and here's what happened. We're going to have to say happy trails. Do we switch it to Hoby Milner Day? Because Hoby Milner, but this was no surprise. Yesterday's podcast, I talked about this, that Hoby would be the likely person to be non-tendered, and he was a number of different levels. The Brewers have two lefties already in that bullpen, Koenig and Hudson, two effective lefties in the middle of that bullpen. Milner's 34, didn't have a very good year last year. The numbers were down, couldn't be trusted in big spots. Hoby Milner. Maybe we should do a Hoby Milner Appreciation Day. We all liked him. Sidewinder, left-hander, was really effective when he was here. Effective. The Brewers signed this guy to a minor league contract a couple of years ago, and they got everything out of Hoby Milner. Everything that they wanted out of Hoby Milner. I mean, this is another classic Milwaukee Brewers sign where, again, they bring a guy in, career going nowhere, and he turned out to be pretty darn good middle reliever. He was their modern-day Tony Fossis. Let's put that, the mechanic. Yeah, some of you probably don't remember who the mechanic was, Tony Fossis, but maybe a little bit before your time. But not mine. But Hoby Milner has been non-tendered. And again, no surprise on that move. Now, several are returning. And no surprises in some of these, although one is William Contreras, who will be a free agent in 2028. He's going to be tested the market then. He's got no intentions of signing or buying out of his arbitration years because he feels like he's going to hit the jackpot in 2028. And if that's the case, let's hope he has big, big years here for the next 3 seasons. Devin Williams, interesting. The Brewers have already come out and said, well, Devin didn't play a full season last year. He didn't play a full season. So we're adjusting accordingly. And arbitration will adjust accordingly because Devin, even though he was effective when he was in there, he wasn't here the whole season. So he'll make about $7.7 million next year. Remember, the Brewers declined the option on $10.6 million just a couple of weeks ago. So they'll save whatever team he's being traded to about $3 million. And, Devin continues to be a big part of our organization, as the front office would say. But the Brewers know. Devin knows. Devin's ticked off. I don't know this officially, but Devin is, he's probably ticked off that he's got to take a $3 million pay cut. His agent knows. He knows it is part of the business, but he's not happy about it. Even though it's part of the business, he's not happy about it. It's not being cheap. It's not the Brewers being cheap. It's just being business. And that's the way it works in Major League Baseball. It is just business, as Triple H would once say. It is just business. So what are you going to do? It is business. And you know what? The players look out for themselves. The team's got to look out for themselves. That's how I look at it. So Devin Williams, they did tender him. Aaron Civale, maybe a little bit of a surprise. $8 million he'll probably get. And again, they have until January 11th to avoid arbitration. if they don't come up with a deal by January 11th, then they go to arbitration. Aaron Civale, I'm glad they tendered him. Now, he's probably a trade candidate, but a guy who's very effective. When they traded for him, I have no problem keeping him, unless you put him in a package where you're getting something in return. You're not just trading Aaron Civale to trade him. But I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with him. They're going to deal him. And let's face it, in a trade package cost, that's going to look very attractive in a trade package. Trading a starting pitcher who's going to make about $8 million a year is about effective. But I think the Brewers feel like they have better options right now with Aaron Civale in their starting five. I'm okay if they keep him around. I'm more than okay about that. We'll see how that turns out. Nick Mears, they love Nick Mears. We've talked about that. Trevor McGill, no surprise there. Mears they got in the trade from Colorado earlier in the year. And Piamps. My guy Piamps has got to bounce back. Piamps is, when he came on a couple of years ago, man, impressive. I loved him. I thought, man, this is maybe a closer of the future. They got him at part of that Contreras deal with Oakland and Atlanta. Still have high hopes for Piamps. He's got to put the train back on the tracks, though. You all Piamps. So he'll be back for another year. Maybe he's part of a trade package. Who knows? So that's it. Contreras, Williams, Civale, I guess, is a surprise. Mears, McGill, no surprise. Mears, no surprise. And Piamps, some people might think that's a surprise. I don't think that's a surprise whatsoever. When we come back, we'll tell you about who signed a contract with the Brewers. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. We'll come right back after this timeout. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you for joining us on a weekend shorty. I used to call these Saturdays and Sunday shorties. Bonus coverage here on Locked On Brewers. How about that? And we're brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is America's, it's my way to go, actually, for buying tickets. Brewers tickets, Bucks tickets. I tell you, I get tickets behind the dugout through Gametime. Concert tickets. I love going to concerts. Some of the smaller concert venues in Milwaukee, they have those tickets right on Gametime. Not only Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, throughout the state, all on Gametime. Maybe you want to cross the border, go to Chicago. Those seats all on Gametime worldwide. All in pricing, too. Toggle the feature. It shows the totals up front. No surprise fees at the checkout. The seat views, you touch on them where you want to sit, and the view pops up. And you're gold. Yeah, I want to sit there. $34, put me in. The lowest price guaranteed, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the discount, and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. So what you need to do, download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You'll get $20 off. You pay $80 for tickets, you'll get them for $60 when you use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Terms apply, but again, create an account. Let's say you go to the Bucks game, spend $100, get $20 off, but you got to use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. So you can get the $20 off. Download the Gametime app. What time is it? It is game time. Show is also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, get ready to tackle all the NFL action with FanDuel's #1 sports book in America. What I really like about them is their live betting. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game, a team that you like, a favorite, maybe a heavy favorite gets down, well, you take them on the live line. You view all the live play-by-play, the latest stats. You can kind of work your way and see how you analyze it. And there's so much more on the same page where you place your bets on FanDuel. And right now, you get started on FanDuel with $150 in bonus bets. If you win that first $5 bet, you win a bet of $5. You know what? $150 goes your way into your account in bonus bets. That's FanDuel. And again, you'll really you'll love their live betting, and especially as we come in here for the next 10 days, because you know what? There was Friday afternoon college basketball. There'll be basketball, baseball, not baseball. There'll be basketball all day long. There'll be afternoon basketball because all these college tournaments going on. There'll be college football, of course, ton of it. coming up next, especially rivalry weekend next weekend. And the NFL, there's going to be Black Friday, NFL. There's going to be, games on Thanksgiving, of course. So, man, it is a sports bonanza. And you know what? Hey, they're going to be hanging around the house, maybe not doing a few things. Get in on the action, FanDuel, because sign up now, new customers, $5 bet. You win it, you get $150 in bonus bets with FanDuel.com. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Here on our bonus edition. Eric Haase, 1 year, $1.35 million. Afternoon, they signed that. The Brewers came to terms. They announced that deal with Eric Haase. I like the move they made last year, getting him from Mark Canha. I didn't want to see Canha go, but I liked Eric Haase. I liked what he did in Detroit. I really liked him early in his career, and there was great in spring training last year. And when he performed this year, he was pretty good offensively. Now, I got some questions about his defense, about throwing guys out on the base pass. But as a backup catcher right now, we'll see if the Brewers do better than him. Now, last year they did. They went out and got themselves Gary Sanchez. Remember that? I thought Haase was going to be the backup catcher to Contreras. Then Sanchez fell into their laps. And then Haase, they kept the Brewers made an unprecedented move, keeping 3 catchers on the roster. Haase had spent some time down at AAA, but they called him up and they kept him on the roster. He was on the postseason roster. Eric Haase. So, obviously the Brewers like him, and they're going to give him another test run for 1 year, $1.35 million contract. Good guy, good clubhouse guy, great teammate. Just got to get a little better defensively as far as throwing those runners on the base pass. But Eric, when he comes up to the plate, don't you always feel good about him coming to plate? Guys coming off that bench, man. Haase coming up in a pinch hit spot, clutch spot. I like that. I do like that. And maybe we'll find a way to get his bat in the lineup a little bit more. Eric Haase. Have him DH. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe back up first baseman or so. I just like what he could do at the plate. They always say the professional at-bats. I think that's what Eric Haase brings to the table. So I'm glad to see him come back. I am glad to see him coming back. So there we go. Brewers make the move. They sign Eric Haase to a 1-year deal on Friday. They say goodbye to Hoby Milner. The Brewers did say, well, maybe Milner might come back. They say, well, that doesn't mean he's gone. Yeah, we'll see. And then, of course, Contreras, Williams, Civale, Mears, McGill, Payamps, those guys all returning. No surprises, except for, you might say, Civale might have been, but who knows? All right, that's going to do it. My name is Chuck Freeman. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Monday with another late Sunday night, early Monday morning with another edition. But listen, any other news breaks this weekend, we need to drop a bonus coverage of any big news. That's going to do it for until Sunday night. Chuck Freeman, thank you for making us your first listen to every day. And thanks for making us a weekend listen to. This is a short version, but thank you very much. Locked On Brewers is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And of course, check out Locked On MLB with my guy Sully. He's got all the Hot Stove League talk right over there. Make him your second listen. Make Locked On Brewers your first. Make Sully your second. I like Sully, but make Locked On Brewers your first listen to. Chuck Freeman, have a great weekend, everybody.